Hello, this is Andy Bennett with Interactive Learning. I work with Turning Technologies and the JROTC branches. This video was created by Turning's support team to highlight the setup for Google Classroom and your Turning account. From time to time, I will pause the video and make mention of things that are specifically useful to you as a JROTC instructor. Thanks for watching the video. Let's get started.
With TurningPoint, you have the option to import your roster from Google Classroom, as well as export grades in the form of points back to Google Classroom. To begin, sign into your Turning account at TurningTechnologies.com. Select Google Classroom at the top. Authenticate the connection by signing into Google Classroom through your Turning account.
Quick point of clarification here. While everything around your Turning account needs to be done with your JROTC email, when you log into Google, make sure that you are logging into your school email because that's where your Google Classroom is going to be set up.
A warning message will appear stating that this app is not verified yet. Turning is working with Google Classroom for final app approval. You can still utilize all the great features of both TurningPoint and Google while we wait for the verification to be complete. To continue with our integration process, select the Advanced Hyperlink button. Then select Go to TurningTechnologies.com. You will receive 4 pop-up messages. Please allow for all 4 permissions. These permissions allow Google and TurningPoint to successfully communicate. Once all 4 have been accepted, you will have to confirm the permissions one more time. To do this, select the Allow button in the bottom right. This will redirect you back inside your Turning account. Select Google Classroom at the top. All of your active courses will appear. Select the courses you would like to activate in TurningPoint by selecting the Add button. This removes them and places them under the Active Courses tab. When finished adding all of your active courses, select the Active Course tab. This displays all of your active courses at a central location. Now that we have the connection between TurningPoint and Google Classroom established, you can use your Google Classroom courses with TurningPoint Desktop or web. Since the majority of our JROTC clientele use the TurningPoint Desktop application, the rest of this tutorial will focus on that. Launch the TurningPoint Desktop software. You must be using version 8 or higher for Google Classroom and TurningPoint to successfully work. Once TurningPoint is open, you will see all of your active courses on the left-hand side.
Let me pause for just a second and interject just a little bit here. It is important that you are following the steps in order. I would assume that's what you're doing, but make sure that you have already set up the integration through the TurningPoint web and Google Classroom on the browser before we go into TurningPoint to launch the courses. With that being said, on the left-hand side of your courses, you'll see a cloud next to any course that was pulled down from TurningPoint web or Google Classroom, any other integration from the web, and 2 little students if it was created using the TurningPoint software.
Since you have already connected TurningPoint and Google Classroom, you can add additional courses directly from the desktop software going forward. Go to the Manage tab. Select the course drop-down menu. Select New. This opens our LMS import window.
All right, let's slow that down just a little bit. So the first step was to click the Manage tab. From Manage, you're going to click Course, then New, and then from the New tab, you're going to select the Download from LMS Sync Integration. So Manage, Course, New, and then Download from LMS Sync Integration. All right, back to the video.
Select Download from LMS Sync Integration. Then select the Course Create button. The Sync window appears. This window gives you the ability to sync multiple courses from Google Classroom. Place a checkmark in front of every course that you would like to make active. Then select Sync. Your new course will appear on the left. Please note that any courses made active will show up in both TurningPoint Desktop and TurningPoint Web. Selecting a course will display the current roster.
All right, let's talk real quick about the student accounts before Kevin goes into detail as to how to create those. For the Google Classroom integration with TurningPoint to work, your students will have to create a Turning account. We'll see that process here in just a second, but understand that process must be done before grades will be able to be transferred back and forth between TurningPoint and Google Classroom. Kevin also mentions the device ID. That is the hexadecimal number on the back of your clicker, ABC123, something to that effect. The other column that he does not mention that you could put in this roster is the user ID. That is your clicker number, 1 through 32 or 1 through 40. So if you are planning on using clickers, make sure that you input the device ID and the user ID as well. So now that you understand that, what you'll see next in the video is the process that you as the instructor can click a button and email all of your cadets to be able to set up their Turning account. It goes kind of quick. So basically what it'll be, you'll click on the mail icon, you'll say Turning account. Then once they receive that email through their Google Classroom email, whatever email they're using for Google Classroom, you'll have them go out and check their email and click on the link to complete the registration process. A lot of that is not shown on the video, but basically it will be sent from TurningPoint out to the students. They complete that process, and then on the back side, Kevin's going to talk about the green check marks we see under the account linked column, and that just means that the students have gone through that process and created their Turning account with the specified email. So now that we've set the stage, let's continue on with the video.
Next, we will want to send an automated email to our students to create their TurningPoint accounts. Select the mail icon in the top right. The mail window will now open. Place a check mark in front of Create Accounts if your student hasn't created their Turning account with Google Classroom connection. Once all of the necessary fields are checked, select the Send button. An email will automatically be sent to any individual missing any one of those components.
The next little snippet is a student-facing video that we will provide to you separately since it's only about 60 seconds and that's all they really need to see. But just so you can see what the process looks like on the student side, we'll go ahead and play that next.
To begin the registration process, check your email and click on the verification link. Now enter in all the required fields as noted. Once complete, click Finished. Check to make sure your students are registered correctly. Your students will need a green check mark next to Account Linked. If your students are going to be using a clicker, make sure they have a device ID.
The next part of the video, Kevin talks about after you've completed a session, how to get your grades back into Google. So before you see that, just let me clarify that you can use any of the polling environments. You could deliver a PowerPoint lesson, you can do a review with Anywhere, you can deliver a test with TurningPoint, again, with clickers in a classroom, with mobile devices, every way that you've been able to do that before, deliver your lesson or test as before, and then once that's done, the next section will talk about how to get those results back into Google Classroom.
Once you have finished the class session, it is time to upload your results back to Google Classroom. Navigate to the Manage tab. Select the course on the left that you would like to upload. Then select Upload Grades. A window will appear listing all of the class session files that you have taught. Place a check mark next to each session that you would like to upload into Google Classroom. Then select Upload. The task status window will appear to verify that the upload was successful. Once this happens, navigate to your Google Classroom to finalize the grades. Select the class that you just imported into Google Classroom. This opens the class up by placing you on the Stream tab. From there, you will navigate to the Classwork tab. In the Classwork tab, you will see the imported TurningPoint session. Select it to view it, then select View Assignments.
All right, that went a little quick. Let's recap the steps that we've covered thus far of getting back into Google Classroom when we're trying to submit and finalize our grades. First, we're going to log in to Google Classroom. You're going to select the class that you use TurningPoint with. From the Stream tab, you'll select Classwork. There you'll be able to see your uploaded assignment. You click on that, and that brings you to this point. Let's see what the next steps are.
Now we are seeing all of our students. Notice that the grade column displays the total points, but not the points that the student has earned. Selecting an individual student displays the points they earned within TurningPoint on the right-hand side. Verify those points by manually entering the points earned next to their name.
So this part can be a little bit confusing, so let's take a second and explain what's happening right here. The current integration with Turning Technologies will pull in the points for the assignment that you had given within TurningPoint, but because of Google's protocol, there's no way for that to go in as a final grade. Therefore, you have to take the grade that is scored and verify or enter those grades. It's not ideal. I'm hopeful that in the future that will be an automatic process, but for the time being, what you need to do to verify the grades is from the right-hand side under where it says no grade, it'll say previously 10 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. That is that particular student's score from TurningPoint. So if it says 10 out of 10, they got all those correct. And then on the left-hand side, next to their name, you will enter 10. You go to the next person, Christy, and that one says 7 out of 10 on the right-hand side where it says previously, and you enter them there. Again, I understand that this is not ideal. In a perfect world, they would talk, and when you take an assignment with TurningPoint, it would manually upload them as final grades. Again, not the case as it stands right now. So you'll have to take the score from where it says previously on the right and enter those on the left to finalize and submit the grades.
Select all of the students by placing a check mark in front of all students. Then select Return. A pop-up will appear confirming that we want to return the submitted assignments. Select Return again. This would take us back to the Stream tab. From here, you can select the Grades tab to view the imported scores.
And there it is. That is the integration with Google Classroom and TurningPoint and the TurningPoint web. I hope this has been a useful tutorial and the interjections were useful for you. If you have questions about the integration or anything that I can help with TurningPoint, please feel free to reach out to me at the contact information on the screen. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for all that you do for our youth. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. Take care.